very, very good catch on the historical joke.
I appreciate good Hannibal friend.
Yes.
Anyway, we are going to look at the top next objective. Seems like play hard with an Invis. Is putting himself in position, and Jackie has already forgotten the bottom lane. He's ready to farm this. Defend this perhaps. Masterman is already ready on Raven. And he's just walking in. That's the plan.
He's got Requiem. He's gonna walk in and Requiem the oh, he's a Slark. Oh,
Okay, plan B. Mask of Madness them.
And then he runs away. Oh, he's got pounce. Yeah,
Okay.
there's problems. We've got some problems here.
We need the cookie, Richie.
So,
we need the cookie.
At the very least, you know, Dota's a game that...
It's gonna be a kill though. This is enough to deter Jackie's aggression. He needed that Tiny to tank the gank for him. So it's kind of a win for both teams, right? Because now Slark can't farm any longer in this area.
I suppose that's true, yeah.
But you also tank the gank for the Slark.
Yeah, not bad, but it's going to really free up, I want to say, Masaros as well as Corden, who's about to finish up his Diffusal Blaze. He's kind of getting there. It's only about another 500 gold before he has that item online, but the damage is going to be immense out from him. Go ahead.
I was gonna say though, it's an interesting idea I had, and I want to see. If you're in a lineup like this where the initiation is not particularly quick, or there's any stuns that you have to avoid, right?
Right. You're playing against one of these, that is.
That's it. Yeah, you're playing against one of them. So you're bleeding in this case. Do you actually need the supports to be in that position to block smoke games? Or is that just giving them freer kills, which they wouldn't otherwise be able to apply?
So I actually think it depends on the state of the game. I think like early on, like it's totally acceptable for you to commit double ultis there, because you can overgrowth, bait out the shadow, or sorry, the purge, and then hit him with a Requiem, and then you kill him, right?
True.
And that's worth it in the early game. Late game, when the rest of his cores are going to take 2 of their structures because you can't fight, that's not worth it. So I actually think it is, in this case, it's definitely worth the Tiny dying there to make sure that Jackie is completely safe.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So it's about, because the ultimates are a very big deal here. You have a really good team fight in the ultimates. Bosku, he is. I love that he's playing Brood Mother. He's trying to truly Bosku.
He's the boss. Those are his underlings.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's only playing. If you check his Dota Pro tracker, you'll see he's only playing unit heroes right now. It's Nature's Prophet, Visage, Brood Mother. I caught him playing some Beastmaster.
Yeah, Venomancer, he's even got his wards he sets up, isn't that right?
I don't know if we should say Venomancer in the presence of Cuckoo. I hear when he sees snakes now, he gets
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Smoke play from Bleed, so they're going to be first to make a move. They're pretty strong now. They have this dual timing of a Pipe of Insight, not quite this Blink Dagger for timing, but the Diffusal now for Pangolier is out, so they pack a punch, and they can take one too.
Yeah, we'll see. The Tiny, though, is a key point in their initiation. Like you said, the Pango's useful here, but no Blink yet on him. In fact, he's going for Shard before the Blink. Do you think that's because the Tiny's already going to act as that initiator?
I guess so. It also just saves him from a lot, right?
You can also toss step on. That's your initiation. You're going to counterattack. There's no way.
Go down. I mean, they're gonna have living armor to slow this down and another clip, but they can tank very easily here, and that is going to be a fight into this unless they can just get a surprise overgrowth, but that's not happening.
At least they did take bottom in exchange. Like they forced a really difficult tower to defend into a trade. So that's as best as you can do there.
Dire's top tower is about to fall.
And again, it's just still Mother's Tower, which you would expect to go down 4 minutes ago. So it's still rough. I mean, I still think Blacklist are having a really rough game. Their early to mid transition is super awkward, but at least made it a bit easier as Carl does have himself his full blood completed. You can see he's just used it to heal off that Sunray damage. Then again, he's still fighting into this Pipe barrier, so that's a serious problem for him. It does kind of feel like it neutralizes the first couple seconds of all of your damage. You're not getting any of your mana back. It's rough here. I'd say Bleed can pretty much decide when and where to fight, and it's really up to Blacklist to respond.
Do you think Brood still has the necessity of, like, as a Beastmaster, right? You're talking about how much map control you can acquire, and that's a big deal when you're playing him. Otherwise, what's the point of a hero?
Right.
But now that Brood's playing this kind of aura build that's been popular since even before TI, does this hero depend so much on the space you can make early in the map control, or is there more versatility to it?
Right, I think the part about map control has, it's dual parts, so because the map control complains on other aspects of your draft. If you have a pickup lineup and you corral them into a certain part of the map, it makes picking off a lot easier, right? But it's also about just getting your items early, right? She's got a lot of farming mechanisms. That's why you see this mech build come into fruition, because this item's got
mechanism to farm.
Exactly, right? Because it's gotten some crazy buffs to it lately, so it's just this great early teamfight item. So I wouldn't say, when you play it in this style, no, you don't this stuff. It's just more about getting your early timings and fighting with the team, which is why it's played so good, right? Okay. Phoenix is doing the same thing, however, and it's
I am interested though what he does now. Can they kill Fuku and done? He does. He survived that whole damage, going on the retreat, low mana though on this poor Crystal Maiden. Run Wolf run, but the Wolves of Iceberg are not very swift today. They catch up to him, and the damage is high enough to finish off Dubu.
That's unfortunate. He'll be a little bit upset there. I think that TP completed. We all heard the sound, but unfortunately for him, he didn't make it out alive. Just a bit unfortunate that they needed way more lockdown. Karl needs to get stunned up before he can activate Pulse Nova and Bloodstone. It's the kind of Doom effect, right? How many times have you seen a Lesh get doomed and then still come out of the fight full mana, full HP?
No, Richie, how many keyboards have I broken this month? That's your answer.
That's the better question here.
That's just bouncy.
It's a bit tough. It's really hard for Bleed. They really look to force it. I think perhaps their best move would have been not to really dive so aggressively and just force enemies to come to them. We've seen how difficult it is for Blacklist already this game to, I guess, stare menacingly at heroes and then attempt to gank them, and it doesn't work. But when you play into them, when you let them run into their growth that's a different story.
Right. Lesh might have survived that, turned it around, went to find it.
Yeah, seriously, I mean, that's crazy. That was the pipe barrier. That was the pipe barrier on everyone as well, by the way, which is just madness.
Do we have a mage there?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the
Scanning for enemies.
We've seen two Slarks today, by the way, at least one earlier in the games, and completely different builds. Into the Mage Slayer, and before it was a Radiance into the PL.
Oh, that's the Chinese build. That build's pretty fun. It's a very interesting way of playing the Slark. I think this is a more standard one, but I do think the Mage Slayer seems to be a deviation because of the Lush, right?
Exactly. No, I mean, exactly, but that's what I really like seeing. I think Dota's in a really good place when two of these builds are, you know, both extremely viable and maybe even good. You know, it shows that, you know, with experience, you come to pick up a couple different items, learn some different matchups, and maybe get yourself a couple key kills as Jackie will commit that pounce onto the top lane. It looks like a kill for him with the second pounce. You in trouble. It's all fighting here, though.
Yeah, they are. In fact, bottom mid, we're trying to fight as well. The top lane now, Slayhard, it's his turn to try to kill AU. Apparently too tanky. This tree's not going down. Instead, the Rock's in trouble. Cuckoo blocks the pounce, but now he's in trouble, but goes into the fog, making sure Jackie can't quite kill him. Second pounce is now ready. Master they started this insight, and they will accomplish it. The boss is down.
Actually, it's an arachnid, not an insect. But that's all the same, and that'll actually open up Roach because big teamfight ulti committed there. I don't think it was quite caught on camera, but there was an overgrowth here in that awkward skirmish. Blacklist, they didn't really want to be fighting in that area. Bleed had a tier 1 tower. You can see how quickly they were able to reinforce and, you know, get the numbers advantage. Mechanism aside, sure, it saves the Dream Protector. They really kind of came down bad with saving Bunny Tinder, and it'll cost the first Roach.
You know, the problem there is that you see a Terminator getting gone. Actually, I'm tanking through all this.
Yeah.
They're super weak, and they just baited you into attacking a Slark that has a bunch of the attribute shift onto him, right?
I think Jackie's problem is he doesn't have like a ton of damage. It's not bad, of course, with his 57 essence that he currently has stolen, or his 14 stacks of it anyway, for 57 Agis.
12, 11, slowly going down.
Yeah, it's going down. But he doesn't have a ton of damage, so it takes him a while, especially because he's going for BKB. He doesn't have a lot of stats.
Yeah, but consider this. Hit the 2 bounces almost every fight. You start with 6 stacks.
Oh, of course, and that's exactly what allows Jackie to get the ball rolling in that engagement. That's what's actually pretty fun about this matchup. It's like, with the exception, of course, of now the Lesh with Bloodstone, everyone's pretty squishy, everyone's pretty mobile. You know, you have a lot of potential to go for these kind of wacky plays, and he seems, especially with going with for BKB next, he just wants to bring the fight right to this Lesh. Interesting, right? Because, of course, without a Diffusal Blade, it'll take some time, but still has that Mage Slayer at least to help his team survive a bit more and reduce that damage output.
Yeah, because the Pango is one of those heroes that does get in the middle of the fight, but isn't the tankiest, especially since the Shield Crash nerf. Yeah. So making sure the Pango doesn't dive into the Lush area damage is quite a big deal. So even if he's balled up, right? You want the Pango to swashbuckle a bunch. He's already going for the axe.
Jax thinks Radiant's bottom
Most
tower
has
is
a bunch of
about
impact.
to
He might double
Dire's
with that.
down.
He does seem to be more of a damage-oriented Pango.
They do have themselves the Greaves now as well on Cuckoo. So he's finished that up. That's not bad at all.
He's going for a force back.
Yeah, so immediately transitioning. That'll really help with their initiation as well, to be quite honest. Because right now that'll make 2 force stats for AU. Well, one on AU and the second there on Cuckoo.
No, but they're both AUs. He's the one that directs Cuckoo into you.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
Dire's top
For now,
tower
it's
is under
actually
attack.
Blacklist who are just going to be pushing opposite here. Lead still continuing to move as they please, but you can see it's a little bit awkward. I'd say neither team really is super comfortable yet being the one to initiate. Gordon's actually going for the Ag Scepter here on the Pangolier before anything like a Blink Dagger, which would allow him to maybe get on top of the 4 heroes first. That's an interesting choice, but it will increase the damage up. Although, it's a good fight for them. Oh, on good time for it. Force now brings some second clouds. Here we go.
Shit, but Jackie still has the aim. He doesn't matter if he dies just yet. Can they do so though? Apparently it's impossible. Lash is still alive. Tornado is now being chased out by a bunch of more forces, and the stock is coming back into a plethora of heroes who all want them dead. Jackie manages to pounce his way to safety, and they actually can't reach him, but they have killed the enemy mid laner. And with Carl, this slash
Something
is
good happening
gone.
to Radiant's
Yeah.
middle tower.
Well, to be honest, I think it's more to do with Blacklist International. Yes, let's meme on the Lash, but the force steps, that's what the second force step is a good idea. That is to answer the question. It's not up yet, but even just with the Guardian Greaves, you can see the impact that Cuckoo has there. Completely turns that on his head. They've so focused on hard stuff, even perhaps on killing this Lash, that they just completely ignore the Shadow Fiend, who's channeling Requiem. It breaks apart the team fight for Bleed. They end up almost overextending. They can't get out the Supernova in time.
Do you reckon they need to change targets? Because I understand what we're considering the Lash as well.
I mean, that felt like the question of TI, right? What do we do? Do we not kill Lash? Like, that didn't really seem to be the solution either. Tundra's solution, of course, was Mitch, but now with the changes to Wraith Pack, the only way to do that is if Slark is auto-attacking him. And if he's auto-attacking him, you might as well try and kill him first. So it feels like you're kind of stuck going down this one-way street right now, and
okay,
not really going anywhere.
Your drift, so CM Mage Slayer, so that she can tap the Lash, and then Slark can counter and kill the Shadow Fiend.
That's exactly what we need.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I honestly, I don't know what else you can go for here.
Swashbuckle, honestly.
Dire's
Maybe get Mage Slayer on the Pango, and that way you just reduced everyone's damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a crazy idea for maybe an early Bloodthorn. Maybe you need this silence, because Carl is not going to build a self-dispel for a while. So if you can maybe surprise him from Fog and get the jump and get him silenced, it's a 4-step game against Slark, obviously. Not really the biggest and most obvious game to go for Lotuses. That might be a realistic option here.
Jackie, he's trying to figure it out. Just send them packing, and look at this poor Slark. Oh, turns to Susie, then goes to Shadow Max mode now. With the help of the Phoenix, they can get him back. He goes for it this time. The egg is going to break, though, and they don't have enough damage to kill off the Shadow Fiend. Duobu tries to distract the enemy team by fielding, but he is going to die for this. At least Jackie gets away, but that's a BKB used for not much.
To Radiant
Yeah, and that's just not, I think, a fight chat you could really afford to take there. I think when you just kind of got screwed over by Ravens. Shadowblade revealed the once. I think not having vision on him and kind of making the same play and an even further point to the map than where your teammates can help you is super risky. You can see Bleed here in this replay. They tried really to adjust. I really like this effort to Icarus dive back on in and maybe buy a little bit more time. But it's just not really the right kind of play. Imagine there's a Rolling Thunder here, fight could look different. But now even that Raven can cover himself with that BKB, it seems rather unlikely. Seems like Blacklist, especially if Bleed continue fighting directly into them without a proper initiation, quote unquote, they're just gonna end up getting whittled down. Very surprising. Blacklist have been the patient ones so far. They haven't really been diving towers, making super aggressive plays, mostly because they have almost no mobility, to be honest. So
they don't make plays. They let you make plays, and they punish you for them.
And that's just it. It's just Bleed getting punished over and over again here.
Wondering, are there any big items? Okay, now we got
Blink.
Shiva's on Phoenix. Actually.
Blink for Pango is the big item.
Blink for Pango?
I really think that'll be a bit of a game changer for Gordon here. I'm really eager to see. He's going to have immense damage. He's got his 15 talent, 3-second cooldown in ball with this Ag Scepter and Diffusal Blade.
have Shivas for the last fight, right?
I don't believe so on the Phoenix, right?
Now maybe the Lesh actually becomes a target because you have the 25% regen reduction. That's right. Good point. And life steal as well in general, but this might be the reason. They didn't have a Spirit Vessel until now. Obviously, they had no one that
That's
could
a
buy
really
it.
good point. I didn't consider that. Yeah. So, and now, of course, you're going to be further reducing the lifesteal. Well, you reduced it twice, actually.
Yeah,
Which I
Mage
think
Slayer and
Mage Slayer on the way in, and then on the way out, you reduce it a second time. Yeah, with that Shiva's debuff. So really, really good points. And again, without any dispels, right, Lesh is going to be stuck trying to heal through that. Still has this Kaya and Sanj. Shiva's himself. This is risky.
He got frozen, but not the Shivas they were looking for. And he's like, all right, Green Crystal Maiden, sounds good. As Carl chases down Dubu, finally gets rooted with a Frostbite. Dubu could still be in trouble. Oh no, he got Cookie! Oh no! Dubu is now dead. That Snapfire kick him with a great Cookie timing. And that's the Blink Dagger from Tim's coming into play. He also completely has Force Staff, which means it's smoke time reduced.
Yeah, it's smoke time, but not only that, I think this is a pretty key moment for Blacklist International, actually. Cuckoo's bought a gem. He's carrying a gem right now, so it looks like they're going to try and finally be the ones to take map controls. They smoke into the jungle. They'll catch up Phoenix, who Icarus dives away, pardon me, in time.
Or Phoenix.
The Dire Spot Shower Jacks.
Two dead now for Bleed. Slowly losing heroes because they don't know where to play exactly, which is one of the issues they're suffering from right now. Like you said, they don't know how to confront these team fights exactly.
Yeah, and now I wonder, I think Blink might be their next biggest timing. By then, potentially Roche could be up. It's going to depend a lot on this next Roche, I suspect. Could be up as soon as in 10 seconds. Could be another 3 minutes after that. We'll have to see here. We'll get that information. But Gordon ought to have BKB, or sorry, he ought to have his Blink Dagger on the Pangolier, which is a huge tool to fight around the Roche pit. As long as Blink can actually set up and, you know, be in position to fight around Roche, I still think they have got a really good chance to get back into this game.
Okay, alright. We'll have to see. I mean, right now Blacklist is looking really good, and also, they know how to play the strategy.
Yeah.
Right? It might seem like a simple strategy, but they haven't been making any small blunders. They're usually just working as a ball, I would say, of Fury and Flesh Rex, and it's very difficult to confront them this way. And it's not like there's a moment in the game where they start losing steam.
Yeah. We're very likely to see a smoke here, I reckon. It's really difficult though, and the map's dark, yeah. And the map's dark, and so they need to get out and kind of play together, ready to fight. This gen is a really, really big problem. Oh, they cancel the TP. They could look for a fight now.
They could. They know Lesh is their TP.
They don't know how far Lesh is though. Lesh is close. This could be a bait.
And Bleed is not going to take it.
Yeah.
Dark maps, guys.
Yeah,
they
it's
look very
scary. Yeah, and Dubu gets the D-ward immediately. Just on top of it, this guy.
Yep. Who knows? He'll never be picked again.
He's gonna pick up the Lesh as well. Put underneath this ward.
Okay. But he's just a difficult target. You need to also know where the Shadow Fiend is, because the Reiki has been screwing them over.
Pretty scary here.
I hear something.
He's just having a fun time now. Roche up in 44. This is a problem though. Bleed are not completely happy with this. Right now they're pretty much completely zoned outside of the pit. You can just tell based on the west placement where Blacklist is at.
It's going to use the Shadow Dance, and with the Phoenix, to get away. But the third comes out of this fight, Paul's already dead. That's the blunder that Bleed was looking for.
Yeah.
As Blacklist could not reach their mid laner in time, and now are forced to retreat.
The point I was making is if you look at the webs, that's where Blacklist want to fight. Somewhere where they can kind of reinforce, they can get a good overgrowth, a requiem from, you know, all this funky terrain. And now Roche, oh, if Bleed are ever just so a little bit more patient, this could be the turn that they need, but they're just gonna leave the pit right as Roshan comes back. We'll see how quickly they look to check, but that could have been a huge turning point. They're not the fastest in the road. You have 25 stacks here. It's 100 agi actually, so they might be able to get through. There they go. Now they know.
Okay. Alright, Morgan will be the first one to grab. He's fighting the Roche head on. They did scan, however, so they haven't noticed that Bleed is of anything. Will they try to come to contest it? Lesh is not here. He's a key player in these fights.
Yeah,
but he can free Roche from
he can be here pretty much instantly, you know. Of course, oh, and they're just getting delays. He can box in on any of these fighters, so he can be instantly into the fight.
The one freezing fuels because he thought they were going to go in already. BKB even. Jackie BKB to guarantee this throw. They want to get a kill on top of this egg and the shard, which I think still might just use.
honestly, I think that's totally acceptable. I think that's totally acceptable. This timing that Blacklist are scaring it or are playing in right now is pretty scary if you're Bleed. You see this guy about to respawn. Anything it takes to take down Roche that much faster out from Dubu's the call. BKB just playing safe, Supernova use. That's fine. We just want to get our next volley of items, and then with that we can look to fight. A point I was making earlier but didn't quite get to, that Blacklist have shown us here, is that gold solves a lot, and much like real life, solves a lot of your problems with your drafts. You can really make up for a lot of the problems that you have naturally in your draft by just buying items with them. Don't have initiation, get a blink dagger. That's
true.
Right?
Yeah. That's how I got dates I did. It was all the gold to play.
I'm sure.
All the ones I stole. Exactly what I did. Anyway, we're wrong region. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
we are still watching the Blacklist guys. Are trying to recompose themselves after this Aegis loss. Can you fight into the Aegis is the question.
I'll take that.
I think so, actually. I think so. The tricky thing is going to be, because Slark basically now has got 3 defensive items, right? He's got his Aegis for his second life, his Shadow Dance, and now his BKB. So it does become a bit tricky in terms of actually connecting enough lockdown through those 3 somewhat resets that he's going to get. Because you've only really got the Overgrowth as well as the Requiem to really lock him down, unless he's going to somehow get chain stunned by Cookie into Split Earth, which just doesn't really seem too likely to me.
No. Do we have a shard and Split Earth? We don't either. But Carl instead, he hasn't been able to deviate into the shard. Probably was hoping that Roche would just get it off Roche, honestly.
Yeah.
And instead he's being forced into the act. Nihilism.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really strong against Slark, honestly.
Oh, toss back.
Too. Brood is in trouble.
Oh.
Was that intentional?
There was a small lag spike for us too.
There was, yes. Likely for the lag spike here, as
Gordon knows his Pango lines. That is the best line to tilt the enemy.
It's a good one to use. I think Cuckoo ought to die here. He's just used Guardian Greaves, so he's not going to have a Dispel. And he's got a gem.
Yeah, he should. Here comes not bad. Good attempt, but now you might have put himself in a pickle as played hard going for him. It's a 4-step gaining a pair. He's not much range. Or to the top note. He looks right to it. Rolls back to hit as well. So One guarantees this kill.
The way that these drafts are composed, it's like you make one mistake. It's such a finely balanced scale that you make one mistake and the team fights are just so one-sided. We haven't really seen any new items since basically Roche fell. Like the way that Bleed and kind of Blacklist set up, but just these small mistakes. Oh, you no longer have a 4-staff, now it can actually catch you. Like the way that Bleed are reading these fights and actually taking moves and making moves to be aggressive is really, really good. Blacklist, they keep trying to save themselves and just find themselves 1 or 2 4-staffs short, 1 mechanism or Grief short, and that's because Bleed are keeping tabs on it.
It's all with the 4-staff switching. Why Jackie is considered buying a
Oh, actually, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. That'll also help, of course, with his damage issues that he is kind of having. He's nearly got it online as well.
Jackie was looking at it, he's like, this is good, I want to try this too.
Yeah.
Can I buy 4-step? Nullifier is fantastic as well against the Nullifier. Sorry, against the... 2 words to start with.
That's a null error right there.
Yeah. My computer broke. Yeah. But Nihilism will also be destroyed by the Nullifier. He should be able to hit and even He tries again, at least he breaks the pounce this time. Jackie has been left alone, he gets hit with a Split Earth, Dark backs it immediately. And the BKB in his ass. Yeah, in the agent, he's hoping to waste it now. Jackie will survive, play armor, he will find it. It's gonna be a retro now. And the kill electric gets out, rolling thunder, block the torch. It might just be enough ball, it's not healing because only a smart fighting against him. And that's what begins it, Carl. Hooked and AU falls as well. They're going for Bosku. They want to finish him off. They had to start Buckle and they went into the shield crash as well. Goodbye to Bosku. He can't force that any longer, but instead he's gonna fight back. Everyone is coming in to save Raven, and they realize once Raven's in trouble, they gotta buy back.
That's really good stuff there from Bleed, and it's so difficult. You can see AU desperately wants to Jackie's great. They want to get this buyback out from Lesh.
They do the Cookie with the wrong direction, but Cuckoo, he'll be fine. He was ready for this.
Yeah, that was really nicely played by Bleed. They're just playing this such on a nice end. There goes Jackie again. Doesn't need to be wary of this buyback, of this overgrowth. Requiem, though, is not ready for another 30 seconds, so that's one thing he doesn't have to worry about. And, of course, still has his Aegis for 20 seconds, so can't afford to lose it. But this 4-5 is going to buy about another 30 seconds for Blacklist. That's going to be probably allowing this Lush to respawn minimal damage. Maybe it's here as the tower goes down. Love the move.
still has the BKB available, so he's not quite down just yet.
Oh, that was the Death Shroud, pardon me.
Yeah, that was Death Shroud, yeah. We do still have the Supernova in 10 seconds as well.
Yeah.
But they're going to choose to retreat for now, maybe just heal up and re-engage.
Yeah, I think they need to send Gordon back. He's got no mana and no Rolling Thunder, so he's cooldown restricted. And also is going to go home to buy this Basher into the Octarine core for him next, so it's going to be all about that uptime for him, which is a beautiful build, as our resident Pango spammer on the cast is going to attest to. You like that Octarine
I
build?
absolutely love this build. Because this Pango, the issue you always have with this hero is, like, do I go team fight or do I go damage, right? And this is Basher plus Axe, gives you both at the same time. It makes your movements in place, makes it difficult for them to attack you as well, because you actually get some auto attack with that, and also makes you hit harder. It's fantastic. It's just very expensive, obviously, but that's why you play mid-Pango.
These items are really coming online now for Blade.
Yes, Flicker too, that is huge.
Blacklist, they're going to smoke out of the base, but the Tiny, he's smoked up here under the cover of the Ninja Gear. He might break this.
No, he did. Blink's back. Blakeheart's Tiny this game, by the way, has been
He's been
absolutely
phenomenal.
bonkers.
And it's night and day when he gets his Blink Dagger, right?
Yes, it really is.
That's what I mean. Same thing for Gordon. You know, he had a phenomenal early game, but as soon as Force Staffs come out, his game's so hard.
Yep.
All of a sudden he gets Blink, he's right where he needs to be every single time. That last team fight where he rolled up and Rolling Thundered right around that like cliff in the Dire Triangle was a thing of beauty.
Dire's top tower has some
Really good stuff from him so far.
Now Playhard, he heard us. His ego's really soaring high, so he decides to do solo the tier 3 tower. He realizes it's not his role, and he's gonna move back again.
Yeah, definitely not.
You know, Blacklist International would also be nullify buyers, but unfortunately I don't think it happens.
Yeah.
The Nihilism, and the Shivas, and the laugh. Who laughs?
He used everything there. Wasn't really sure, of course, with the Gem of True Sights that Cuckoo initially bought earlier, being now on the side of Bleed. Their map's now looking pretty dark. You can see they've been more or less restrictive to finding farm wherever they can. SF's going to sneak out and maybe try and farm one wave down bottom, but there's actually a Maiden down there. Maybe he kills this Maiden.
Never in question.
I didn't even get much down here, to be honest.
Doesn't matter. I think Dubu's ready to die. Look at it. Look at it. Do you think he fears death? Oh no! Why would you wreck him? Does he have shard? Oh, he does not. That's why. He just wanted to make sure she couldn't just frostbite.
Yeah. He wanted the kill. He wanted the kill immediately and then to get out. Because again, the map's dark. They have no vision right now on the Blacklist map.
If you had the shard with the fear, it would have been enough to.
Oh, probably. Yes, I see what you mean.
Yo, Dubu can say tank to wreck you. That's pretty good.
I tanked your Rock Room. Guys, Rock Room with CD. Don't worry, guys. Tanked it for you.
Did it for you guys. I told you Dubu wasn't afraid of death. He walked right into the wreck.
It's... To be honest, yeah, it was almost like he was running, charging right in. Yeah, he was so excited too. That was like a triple wave. He was like, oh man, I'm finally gonna get my first item, guys, and immediately requiemed.
Yep.
C'est la vie for supports.
And now it's play hard to take some of the farm that he was gathering. Typical 5-on-4 support game.
Yeah, pretty much. The favorite support. Roshan is going to be a bit longer to respawn though. 90 seconds. Blacklist though looking to try and gain a foothold in this part of the map. We got Monsteros ready to Icarus dive, ready to pop the Supernova and kick off a little bit of a fight here, ready to break smokes. And Blacklist will have to take the long way around, where once again, Playhard just always being a bit annoying here.
Siku's leading on that. It's now harder to gank him when he has that all on his course. Because you have to, essentially, you force the BKB if they want to go against you.
Yep.
And the nullifier.
And the nullifier. Yeah, very true. Wonder now, but I guess with nullifiers in play, it might be... Who wants to build a Lotus? This game's the question. Tree needs this Blink Dagger, and Snapfire's actually going for the Wraith Pact, interestingly enough.
Brood? It's not a bad Lotus game for Brood.
Not a bad Lotus game, but she actually went for the Scythe of Vice. So.
I love this. I think it's a really good pickup. Way to deal with the Slark, right?
Absolutely. Some way to deal with him here. Slark, who by the way, is eventually going to upgrade this Mage Slayer. Does upgrade, of course, into that Bloodthorn. I still think it's very valuable this game. Still no dispels here on Carl.
No BKB at all, actually.
Yeah. So it's rather risky. If you get silenced, he's going to die.
It's found out. I mean, I guess the problem with the silence, you can always just Bloodstone and hope to tank through it with a Pulse Nova, which is not unlikely.
I guess the thought process behind it is if Gordon can blink stun him from Fog, and then we follow with a Pounce and we immediately silence him, he might be toast.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? Of course, that's what you always say when you say, I'll blink Doom, guys, don't worry, and then he still kills you anyway.
No, I mean, I like the idea of Bleed. I just think that I understand why Carl is not building a BKB this game. You're trying to maximize your potential.
Of course.
And BKB Surprisingly, seems like a little bit of a dead item in his game.
He's going for a sight device as well here, actually. Are going to dodge each other. Roche has respawned.
Okay, Cordo's got it's an Ags Roche as well.
Good positioning here, yeah. Ags on that third Roche for the bounty.
Radiants are
I
scanning
mean,
for
that's useless for Bleed, but it's actually pretty great for Blacklist.
All right, both teams are going to try and hold the ward here, but with Bleed holding this outpost, it's going to be Carl that wants to show.
Carl, truly unafraid of dying. Okay, Carl down. Cuckoo falls immediately, and they find AU as an extra snack. At least it's a TP from Tip, so he's gonna be fine. And the Raven Yo's playing when you think, oh, he's away with it. He really is, and then immediately gets punished.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally just setting him up for the highlight reel at this stage, aren't they?
Up against the Tiny, I don't know. I feel like that was a big
Bold, especially not having any vision, knowing that enemies will have more or less free reign all over your map for the past 5 minutes, 7, even since Roche has been taken down. That's a really bold thing. You don't have any saves. Lotus isn't going to save him there. You get tossed way too far back. Really good positioning from Bleed. They probably maximize the toss range to make sure no one could save him.
Yep.
Which is really good. Let's take another look at that one, please.
Yeah. I think this gameplay by Carl reminds you a little bit of Geeks Time Carl, like ages ago, when it's a little bit more risky.
Yeah.
Played all these 50-50 plays that he liked to do.
On his like Ember Spirits, where he throws
Void Spirit?
He throws 3 remnants in, and you're like, dude, we need a remnant to get out, and he just killed the whole team.
Yes, exactly. Or he would die.
And now there's no buybacks here either. I think they're actually still on CD. Just for a couple more seconds. Tree the only one with the funds for it, though. Just straight up be over.
Obviously, Carl can't fight, but he can fight back. There's 1-2, there's no point to it right now. Raven is just trying to push the bottom lane, which is probably the smartest choice, but there's no tier 2, so they can just continue to push this tower regardless.
And I'd say, like, before this Aegis, there's, like, a glimmer of hope. Yes, they're up against a 33k net worth lead, but Raven's actually got himself this Arcane Blink, and you are real fast on the draw, of course, on that Rev Gun. It speeds up that animation. That can easily catch pull up front, especially the first time it's cast. Could win you a fight. But against an Aegis, I don't know if you feel the best.